What's happening, good people? Welcome to the channel. I'm Wes, aka Mr. Budget Watch, and today I'm going to be reviewing this Pagani Submariner homage. Now, Peter Craig London were kind enough to provide this to review. It does not have to go back to them, but that is not going to change my opinion. So this is the PD-1661 and it is the 2021 model. As you can see, we have the Kermit colourway, but they do offer this in a few different other colours as well if you're not a fan of this one. So anyway, let's dive in to the specifications first, and then we're going to see what this watch is actually like. So this one measures in at 40mm diameter. It has a standard 20mm lug width, which is really nice. It is 12.7mm thick, and that is excluding the Cyclops. Lug to lug is 47.8mm. We have a sapphire crystal. Now, I'm not sure whether it's like pure sapphire or whether it's just sapphire coated, but it is marketed and listed as sapphire. We have a full stainless steel case and bracelet, and I think it is 316L. It weighs 152 gram with all the links in it. It has a pretty mediocre 100 meters of water resistance. I wouldn't be expecting 200 for a watch of this style, to be quite honest, but 100 mil, you know, you could take it swimming and it'll be fine, but 200 would have definitely been a little better. We've also got a screw down crown and a screw down exhibition case back. So let's kick it off with the design, and obviously there's not really much to talk about. It's essentially a Submariner homage, and well, that is pretty much it. You've seen these, you know, they're very popular by loads of different watchmakers. Chinese ones at Steinhardt do them, and other manufacturers as well make homages of this watch. So you'll have seen it before. You've got, you know, the iconic bezel design, which is very popular. You can see obviously it's green, and I think this one is ceramic, and obviously you can see we've got markers up to 15 and then numerals all the way around, and it's all printed in white, which contrasts really nicely against that green. Of course, like I say, if you don't like the green, they do different colors as well. They do like a full black, a black and blue, a blue on blue, a green on green, and a few others as well. So taking a close look at that bezel, you can see we've got a nice amount of grip on it, and the bezel action is pretty good. There is a smidge of backplay, and I mean just a smidge. It does move ever so slightly, but there is a little bit of wobble, as you can see. The action is definitely improving quite a lot. It's not obviously the best. I mean, it's an affordable watch, but you know, it's pretty good, and it does line up perfectly as well. So taking a closer look at that dial, you can see we've got a triangle at the 12 o'clock. Circles just about everywhere else apart from the 6 and 9, where you've got some batons. All the indices are applied and lume filled. At the 3 o'clock, you can see we've got that really nicely magnified date window, and it is doing its job absolutely fantastically. You can just see how large the printing on the 28 is. It's really well done. So good job to Pagani there, because sometimes, you know, with the Cyclops, they put them on and they're a little bit wonky. Sometimes they don't actually magnify very well, but this one is very good, and definitely one of the better ones I've seen. Moving outwards a little bit, you can see we've just got a little printed minute track in a contrasting wax. We have a black dial. Handset, we've got just the classic Mercedes style with the fence post, the Mercedes, and then of course the second hand with a little lollipop. Those are also loomed, which I will talk about later on. Under the 12, you can see we've got the Pagani logo and Pagani design printed, and then we've got some printed information above the 6 o'clock, and that is pretty much it. The build quality of the watch is actually pretty decent. It's you know, it's pretty solid feeling. The watch, you know, feels nice and robust. Like I said, the bezel action is definitely improving. Smidge of backplay, but not too much. So let's take a look at the profile. You can see we've got high polish. On this side, again, we've got all high polish. We've got a signed screw down crown, which is really nice. You can see we've got those really large Submariner style crown guards as well, which does a good job at protecting the crown. The top of the lugs are actually brushed, and the brush quality is very nice and smooth. It's not rough feeling at all, and it's actually really good, actually, to be quite honest. Let's flip it around and take a look at that case back, and you can see it is an exhibition style. So you can see the Seiko movement inside. So around that, around the window, we've got a list of specifications which are all engraved. So yeah, it's really, really nice. The back glass is actually mineral and it's not sapphire, but you know that doesn't matter because it spends most of its life on your wrist anyway. So all in all, for the watch, I'm quite impressed. It feels solid, it's well put together, bezel's good, the crown actually feels pretty good, but you know, more on that in a little bit. So yeah, all in all, I am very impressed so far. So now we get on to the bracelet, and it is a fully brushed one. You can see we've got a large male end link, which does obviously add a little bit extra length to that lug to lug, but it doesn't actually protrude as much as what you'd think. So we've got the oyster style bracelet, and it is all brushed. We've got solid end links, we've got solid links, so you can just show you the solid end links, you can just see them right there. And we've also got solid links, and they are, if I remember correctly, screwed in as well. You can just see right there, it is a screwed in one, so it's definitely better than push pins, and something you don't often see at this price point. So again, props to Pagani for not cutting corners there. So then we get on to the clasp, and it is just a pretty standard Rolex style clasp. We've got brush finish, Pagani design engraved into it. And then again, you know, we've just got the Rolex style clasp. So you see it folds over like that, and then we've got this little security lever. And that's what it looks like. It is quite large, I have noticed, but that's, you know, just the style of the Rolex. So opening it up is really easy, and then you just get your finger under there and it pops open like that. So bracelet, really, really good. It's a 316L stainless steel or brush, and it is a very, very good quality bracelet. There's plenty of flexibility in between every single link, which again, I'll talk more about in a little bit for comfort and everything. But yeah, it's a very, very well made bracelet. We've got screw links, solid end links, solid links. Definitely better than a lot of other watches at this price point. So again, another big win for the Pagani right there. So now let's actually talk about in use, and we're going to talk the crown. So this is a screw down crown, and it's actually really easy to use because it does stick out quite a ways from the crown guards. You can grab it quite easily. It's a little bit stiff at first, but once you actually get a good grip on it, which is, it's not the best grip to be fair, it's a little bit too fine, I would say, the grooves in it, so you can't actually get really good purchase on it. But once it actually comes out, it pops out easily, and it's a two-stage crown. So one, you know, you can actually adjust the date. So as I was saying, one pull out, you can actually do your date, and it is a quick set date as well, because it is a Seiko movement. And then two pulls out, and you can adjust your time. And because it's a Seiko movement, it's actually very, very solid feeling, really smooth in action, and you can just see how quick it adjusts the time, just giving it a wind, and there it ticks over, and it's a very, very nice feeling movement. But then again, Seikos are really nice feeling movements. No horrible grating feedback through the crown, everything feels really solid and well put together. You can also see we have a little gasket just there to help with that water resistance. So let's get this crown back in. So all that you do is you push it in and then give it a little twist, and it should go back in. Sometimes it doesn't, like now it's gone back in, but sometimes, you know, you just have to give it, take it out and then pop it back in again. You know, so it takes a few attempts sometimes. So what we're going to do now is get this on wrist and show you what it wears like. And here it is on my 6-inch wrist, and you know what, it wears a lot better than what I was expecting. I was thinking it was going to be a little bit too big, perhaps maybe even a little bit too heavy. I thought the lug to lug looked a little bit longer than it actually is. It's under 48 millimeters, which is just about bang on what I can accommodate on my slim wrist. So if you've got a 6-inch wrist like myself, then you can probably pull this off quite similar to me. If you've got slimmer wrists, then unfortunately I don't think it's going to fit you all that well, unfortunately. Unless perhaps you put it on a NATO strap or something like that, then it might wear a little bit better, because we've got those male end links. It does stick out a little bit more, but because they're curved, it actually doesn't protrude as much as what you'd think, so that's a good thing. So yeah, it's definitely a very, very nice wearing watch, and I think the 40mm diameter is just about right for my wrist as well. I don't think I could pull off anything bigger, and I think this is just about spot on. So if you've got a thicker wrist than myself, then you know this is going to fit you equally as good, if not better, than it does me. Bracelet time, and do you know what? It's really nice. Like I mentioned already, it's got really nice movement in between the links, so it just really drapes nicely over your wrist. So yeah, I've got no complaints there, and it's really nice and comfortable too. There's no sharp edges or poor finishing on it to aggravate your wrist. So definitely a good bracelet. Looking at the clasp, and you can see it fits really nicely against my wrist. There's no gaps whatsoever, and it all fits really nice. It's not too tight, it's not too loose. So yeah, it's bang on. There's micro adjust, there's no glide lock on this clasp, so a little bit of a shame. But as is, I think it fits pretty well. It is a smidge loose, but I didn't want it over tight because you know, then it's like really uncomfortable, but a little bit loose is not too bad. So let's take a look at the profile, and you can see it's quite a flat profile watch. There's not much curvature to it or to the lugs either, so it's quite flat. So I do get a smidge of gap just underneath the lugs, but it does actually still wear really nice and comfortable. Obviously, you can see there's no overhang either, which helps with comfort and also aesthetics as well. I think it just looks so much better when there's not that overhang. So all in all, I am really impressed how this wears. So now we're going to talk lume, and this watch does have lume. So it's got that little lume pip at the 12 o'clock, it's got lumed hands and lume on the indices, and the lume is actually pretty decent. It's not going to knock your socks off, it's not going to blow you away, it's definitely not a lume monster, but it is acceptable. Lume on watches at this price is usually an area what gets cut, and they've cut it a little bit. I think the application could have been a little bit more generous. They probably could have used a slightly stronger compound as well, but then that would have likely have drove the price up a little bit. But this one, like I said, it's acceptable. You know, it's not amazing. It gets decently bright. It lasts a fair amount of time. It's definitely not, you know, an all-night watch. But yeah, it's a good lume. Not amazing, but good. So now we get on to that movement, and as we've mentioned already, it is a Seiko NH35 powered watch. So that's 21,600 beats per hour, -20 to +40 per day, 24 joule, hacking, auto and manual winding, and a 41-hour power reserve. It's not the prettiest of movements, to be fair. I think they could probably shaved a couple of mil off the thickness and gone with a nice decorated case back instead. But the NH35, like I mentioned already, it feels really great. It winds really nice. They've got no issues whatsoever. So yeah, it's definitely a solid and reliable movement. Yes, it's a bit tedious, it's a bit boring, another NH35, but they're chosen for a reason, even despite them being a little bit long in the tooth now. So now we get on to my final thoughts. So this watch currently on Peter Craig London is £65, and with Peter Craig London you actually get it a lot quicker than you would from other places. I got mine within a couple of days. Obviously, but when you're buying one, that might be a little bit different depending on whereabouts you live in the UK, or if you're buying one from overseas. So shipping times will vary, but mine come really quickly, so got no complaints there, and great customer service as well. But final thoughts of this watch, I actually think it's really great value for £65. I mean, you've got great bracelet, really nice finishing, a little bit of issue with the bezel, but it's not a deal-breaking issue by any stretch of the imagination. It's not got loads of bounce in it, it's not got tons of play in it, so definitely QC on this one is really good. The finishing is pretty nice, the build quality is good, the crown feels good, and it's you know, it's a good solid put together watch. And for £65, yeah, the lume's a little bit of a letdown, but everything else is absolutely fantastic. It's super comfortable to wear, and I can definitely recommend you look at one of these. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, like the video if you enjoyed it, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any uploads, and of course follow me on social media at Mr. Budget Watch. Thanks again, I'll see you soon.